since I laid my eyes on you, my baby. I just want to make your dreams come true, my lady.
Welcome, beautiful souls, to a Goddess Life podcast with myself, Erin, and your co-host, the beautiful Miss Anna. Today is episode 18, and this is the final episode in this season. And we wanted to talk about something very powerful to close it out, to give us food for thought, to ground us on pathways that are deeply fulfilling and bringing joy into our lives. The astrology is coming together in a way that's pointing to it. I'm sure all of you have noticed in your lives that certain things are coming to a head or revelations are occurring in different areas. And what if we told you it was all related to joy? So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's really roll with this.
Today, on the day that we are recording this episode, Saturn is in a grand trine with Juno and Parvati. Parvati is the ruler of sacred union for higher union. And you have Juno, which rules long term contracts. Together with Saturn, suggests a collapse of unions and relationships that no longer serves us. You might think this is something that you've heard before because we are coming out of this big eclipse season where we say everything that is not following you further will be eclipsed out of your life. So maybe not everything was eclipsed out and you are still standing in a really tough time in your personal life. It can be that you are having a really hard time with yourself, with your body, with your work, maybe with friends or parents or your partner. We are doing really, really deep work. Sending so much love to everybody that is going through things. With all the endings, we are looking into the future and that brings us to what do you want to take with you into the new? Sort the different things in your life. Will you bring the things that just keeps you safe or feels familiar? Or will you reach for the things that bring you joy?
Juno is a big goddess energy. Like, notice goddess Parvati, goddess Juno. There's also goddess Sirius, the planet Sirius A and B. I always refer to that as a goddess, as a feminine, intuitive, knowing energy star system. And Juno to me is really big. I say that because back in, I think it was February, around Valentine's Day, Venus was making that huge transit, and Venus and Juno were kind of aligning. And Juno is about commitments and contracts at the very deepest core level of us. It really is an alignment, or rather a revelation. Like, how many of us have made commitments to things that don't necessarily bring us joy, but because it's a status quo, or it's what's expected, or it's what we always did? If we're at a point here after the eclipses to make new contracts, to make new commitments, we must, I'm hearing faltering. It's like some of the old contracts must falter, like some commitments are made to be broken so that we can make the truest commitment. And the greatest commitment we'll ever make is to ourselves. That's the numero uno commitment that you make. And every commitment after that ripples out with anybody actually stems from the commitment you made to yourself. So if I'm not committed to my joy, I am unlikely to commit to new beginnings, new pathways, new careers, the unknown, or relationships that are committed to that joy as well. Like Saturn in retrograde, that has been in retrograde for a while and is here till January. That's when Saturn maintains this retrograde. And Saturn's the cycles, it's the karma, the cause and the effect. If I'm in a cycle, or have been in a cycle of committing to things that are disempowering because I feel disempowered. That's a commitment within me. That cycle has ended, which means those commitments must end. If my new commitment is to maybe being only in empowering situations, but I can only commit to that if I've committed to empowering myself. There are no commitments outside of me with anyone or anything in any feeling unless I have first examined and explored the commitment within me. And there's also something coming up too about integrity. This is interesting based on what you're saying, like choosing joy. What do we want to move forward with and what do we need to leave behind? Well, here's the thing. If you're choosing joy, it's inevitable that you're going to have to leave behind those things that are not joy or that do not bring you joy. So it's kind of like the power of joy is exponential, like 10x. That's what I want to say. The power of joy has the ability to realign your entire energetic field. It has the ability to dissolve fear, doubt, procrastination, hesitation, all of those things. And joy is felt in the present moment. If I'm always worrying about the future, I'm not able to necessarily draw in all the joy I can. And if I'm constantly dragging the past with me, well, that's taking away from my joy too. Like, Anna, think about when you're in a moment where you are laughing your ass off, you feel so elated. You're not thinking about the future and you're not thinking about the past. You're literally in the moment, not tied to anything, anywhere. And I feel like those are brilliant moments that a lot of us happen so infrequently that we don't fully, I don't want to say give credit where it's due in terms of the power of joy. You know what song's playing? Joy always wins. Joy always wins because the vibration of it is so high that any of the separation or the negativity cannot possibly touch it because it can't even relate to its frequency. And think about when somebody is in a lot of joy, it's contagious. When somebody has a lot of joy, I can feel it. I don't just feel it, like I'm there too with them. It's amazing. And that's the power of joy. And these new commitments we're making create new cycles, new cause and new effect. If I'm always focusing on my commitment to joy, the sifting process becomes very easily because I'm clear that I'm committed to joy. And if I'm clear that I'm committed to joy, I got Juno, then you must release all contracts and commitments through past lives that are active in your consciousness, that are not aligned with that which brings you joy. And if you are not clear on what brings you joy, this is your opportunity to sit in the liminal space and play and dabble and dance and touch and explore a little bit. Your commitment will always be to you. And if your commitment is to bring joy, to feel joy, to walk the path of joy, it is inevitable that you will be illuminated and it will be revealed what is not that, what has not been bringing that, what is not conducive of your joy, so that you may make a different action. But the commitment is the beginning of all of it. Focus on the commitment you are making and get clear on that. And all else falls into place and, if need be, falls away. It's powerful energy. Like, we could talk about the shadow all day long. It has a place, it has power. It's a place where we reclaim power. But joy seems to be like one of the forgotten things in this world. It's so interesting because I'm saying that because through all the shadow work and through all of our experiences and through all the feelings of separation and negativity and projections that naturally happen on an earth plane where we're operating from limited consciousness. Really, all of us are. We're operating from limitations to our consciousness. So I want to give some grace there. Here's our beautiful us trying to live this beautiful life that we want to live, yet don't necessarily always have the conscious awareness that we're operating within limitations that are not conducive to the thing we actually want. And Juno says, all you need to do is go down to what commitment you have made to you. You will know the commitment by your past experiences in relationships. If you are committed to living an empowered and sovereign life, you will have traversed through disempowering and I'm seeing like arms in chains, feeling powerless, those types of experiences. This is the opposition. Think about sorrow and joy. Think about despair and joy. Both have a place depending on the circumstance. If you can experience despair, you can experience joy. It is available to everyone, but it comes with a commitment. And oftentimes, it is, quite frankly, despair that is the catalyst that forces us to choose joy. I know it has been for me. Sometimes I think about all of our experiences in life. If I ever shared some of the stuff that's gone on in my life that isn't part of, my daughter's story or teaching or any of those things, anything that I've shared, like there are pieces of my journey where sometimes I think to myself, I'm really lucky that I haven't become super bitter about people, about life, about the experiences that I've had, because some of that stuff can make people extremely bitter, hold incredible resentment and incredible darkness because of the experiences with other people. And I know I'm not the only one. There's many of us here. So I feel grateful that I haven't become embittered by it, entrenched in those energies. But why is that? Because I know that none of them was intended to make me bitter or to punish me. They were all intended to catapult me towards finding and getting clear on my commitment to joy, to summon more of myself. When we're looking for joy, we actually have to summon more of ourselves. That's what it feels like. I have to be more completely authentically me. I have to find within me something that has been missing or has been dormant in order to reach for that commitment to joy. That's just a truth, right? Anytime we're going into the unknown, it's like a part of us has been summoned and joy is ringing her bells. I'm seeing giant bells being rung here. Joy is ringing her bells. And I say her because we're dealing with feminine goddesses. She's ringing her bells because that is what makes life so delicious in those blissful states. To me, that joy that we experience, those are the moments that keep us going. And what if we can choose it at every moment, because it's so powerful and we all know that power. We can never say we don't know what joy is. If we actually look back, most of us will take experiences of joy because they're so infrequent, and we'll take all the negativities and make those overpower the joy and completely disregard the joy we have felt. That's the throes of shadow work. That's people in their limitations and their unconscious and trying to work through something that they're healing from. But we've all had moments of joy. And if you can't pinpoint one, just remember you have one there. You can pinpoint it. You simply need to commit to that and relinquish your commitment to all the other things that happened. It doesn't dismiss them. It doesn't mean they didn't happen. It doesn't mean they don't have value. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means reevaluating. Are you going to commit to joy and allow yourself to be taken on the journey so that those other things can fall away? Because they can't fall away because you still got a commitment to them because you keep re-entertaining them, when really you could refocus on something else, the thing you actually want. Make a commitment to that and be willing to release anything that is not that. And if you cannot do that, ooh, I have Venus here now. Should we go here?
Yes.
Venus is saying, did you know that in the darkest, most perilous moments, there is a dimension where you can see it with joy? Not many souls have the capacity, the capability, or the awareness to touch that higher dimensional level of consciousness. And when they do, it might be fleeting. When they do, others may not understand because they are so in the thick, stuck in the mud's the card I'm seeing. They're so stuck in the mud that they're anchored into that versus the ability to see it. No matter the journey, beauty can come from the most ugly places, from the most horrific, unbalanced things. Sometimes the most rare and incredible beauty arises from that. And beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What I find beautiful, you may not. It doesn't make it less beautiful. It means the perceiver has attached a label to beauty and ugliness and has attuned it to that limitation versus the multidimensional field. Joy elicits feelings of deep belonging, safety. It has a very high spiritual quality and essence. It can take you on a roller coaster, feel like you're floating with it, depending on the person. And yet we are guilt ridden. Probably not because we should be guilty about having joy, but think about the people who are the most joyful or the people who are the most authentically themselves, the people who don't give two shits what anybody else is doing. And in addition, they know that everybody else that they're interacting with that's coming from a place that's not joy or tries to it's like a wet sop. Well, I want to say it's almost like that kind of an energy where, when a towel's nice and crisp on the line and the linen line, but then there's like the wet, soppy one that's filled with the grime and it's heavy like the towel. It's heavy. You can't really mold it. It's a pain in the butt. It's kind of like that dynamic, right? And I almost feel like we could use any metaphor we wanted to but the fact that Saturn, Parvati, and Juno are all speaking, that's a trinity, right? Cycles, cause and effect, and karma. What karmic cycle do you want to play out? Karma is neither good nor bad. It really is cause and effect. I take an action and here's the effect of it. For example, some of you have been cleaning up other people's effects of their causes, thus you becoming the cause of you picking up other people's slack or whatever it is. So we're really entering an era where we're becoming empowered in the self and consciously seeing clearly how I take an action and what is the effect of it, whether positive or negative. But to come to that state allows us to see it neutrally and say, okay, I don't want to make that decision anymore. No, I'm not accepting the effects of other people's causes that negatively impacts me. I am now creating my own effects by being the cause. We want to be the cause of our joy, and that's the commitment. When you are committed to something, you become the cause of it. When I am committed to joy, I become the cause of joy. It doesn't come to me. It doesn't get given to me by somebody else. I am the cause because I am the commitment, and all of it comes from me. Juno is very clear on this, very clear. So is Venus in terms of commitments, contracts, all of those things. New contracts cannot be made. Correction. They're showing me layered contracts, Anna. It's almost like those of you who are highly attuned and consciously aware of the multidimensional field, the hidden realms, the places in the past that are active in the unconscious, who are able to tap into the future and the present and the past and all the different dynamics that aren't readily seen in the everyday physical surface world. You will see the layered contracts. You will be able to look back at your life, perhaps the last 5 years or 12 years or 30 years, and you will be able to see with a neutrality and a higher dimensional awareness that you have been removing old contracts layer by layer, contract by contract with different individuals you've come into contact to. You have been doing this most predominantly unconsciously, but tend to have an awareness of them as they happen. And I know for me, when I meet people, even before I meet people, I can actually see, oh, I had this contract with that person, and that's why we're coming together right now. And that's such a beautiful thing because it gives me a rare ability and power to prepare myself and to not get lost in the distortions or the bullshit or illusions, and I can just come to it with love because I know this was not finished in the last contract and we're completing it now. It allows me to detach from it. It allows me to see clearly what it is I'm healing. On the flip side, it really kind of sucks. And I'm saying that not because it actually does suck, I'm saying that because there's areas of it that can be quite confusing because you're merging that old energy that's been active in your consciousness with that particular being, idea, or concept. It has to be really strong within you, active in the present. So we reactivate it in the present because it's already ruminating there so that you can complete the contract. And that's intense. Like usually when people are going on intense spiritual awakenings and journeys and things like that, there's an intensity to it. It's like all consuming, it's all encompassing. It affects the body, the mind, and the spirit. If you're one of those souls who are here to embrace joy, to commit to joy, all the contracts that were not that or that took away from that, because I feel like joy is our natural state. I really do. Some people might say neutrality is your natural state, neither exhilarated and in bliss nor in the depths of dark despair. That is our natural state. But isn't everything our natural state? Isn't it natural to be in grief when you're in a scenario that would elicit that? Isn't it natural to be in joy when you experience something that is so aligned with your soul and so free? Isn't that your natural state then? And isn't in the neutrality that also is a natural state? These are all natural states. We are not asking you to discard all the other states that you have been or the things you feel. We are asking you to commit fully to the state you wish to embody, to become the cause of. And therefore, as the cause, you also receive the effects. These are changing times. And sometimes this is what is changing, the commitment to the self. Know thyself. I'm hearing, who is that? Mauritius? I'm getting Mauritius. I feel like that's also a place, but I could be wrong. I could be incorrect on that. I'd have to look that up after we get together here. But I'm seeing a giant star and the Mauritius or Mauritius. I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm seeing a star or a constellation that is deeply connected to that. And that's an energy that is imploding, exploding, rearranging, and blinking in some people's consciousness right now. I'm also getting a lot of references to know thyself. And in knowing thyself, you can actively choose a clear commitment to joy. When you know yourself, you know what brings you joy and what does not. And when you know yourself, you can come into contact with anything and immediately have a deep knowing of, yes, this will take me where I want to go, and maybe that will not. It just makes the decisions easier because you know you're committed to joy. You don't have to have all the answers and be crystal clear to commit to joy. You certainly don't. I know I didn't. So I was in places where, again, despair was the place that I actively committed mind, body, and spirit. Never again will I commit to something like this that will bring me to this place again. It does not fulfill me. But in that moment, in that never again, I then said, this is my new commitment.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what I mean? Like there's these different places. Sometimes we choose joy from a place of neutrality. We're at a new commitment here, but I also don't want to, I don't want to set aside those that are in the dark depths of their awakening right now or experiencing those things or great change that's rattling their bones. The bones are being rattled because one of your bones is being reclaimed. And that might just be the place that you make this commitment from. A fully aligned commitment takes effect immediately. It really does. And if your commitment is to your own joy, it takes effect immediately, whether we see it or not. This is how we manifest anything and everything. I got joy, I got joy. The power of joy. I'm curious to know what your take is on that. I really want to pull a card too. It's so weird. We've never done that on this podcast. Should we do it?
Pull a card.
What's your thoughts on all that?
I really liked listening to your perspective. I'm sort of one of those that during readings, during like the deep dark awakening part, everybody was saying you should choose joy, do the things that bring you joy. But I was in a place where like nothing was bringing me joy. I had no understanding. Are you meaning that I need to sort of roll on the floor and laugh out loud? Is and then I think it happened really, really slowly, mostly because I was trying to figure out sort of what type of magic I wanted to play with.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to grow some vegetables. And then I started to pick some mushrooms in the forest. And I started to recognize different plants that I could use in my own tea.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just recognized, oh, I used 2 hours in the forest and I didn't think one single word. It was just so peaceful. And it made me happy in a different way, in a really calm, deep way. I really like that. If you choose joy more, the things that don't bring you joy will fall away because you are prioritizing yourself and what you want to do. Then it's not enough time to don't do the things that you don't want to do.
And wasn't peace joy?
Oh,
Like,
yes,
joy means
really.
different things to different people. Peace to me is joy too, where you're not
Yeah,
thinking about anything. It's just deeply, that to me is a form of joy.
yes. Deep, deep, deep peace and joy. And you're walking around with a small smile on your face. And you can just feel your heart sing. And
And what
that's amazing.
and what did it require? Just to go out in the forest. Well, I'll try this. Trying
Yeah.
something new, the unknown is typically where we discover the things that bring us joy. It's like trying a new food. Like one person a few years ago introduced me to jackfruit. I'd never had jackfruit before. And I like trying new things because that became my new favorite fruit. I have this favorite thing that I didn't even know was my favorite thing that I want every time it's in season, obviously, because I'm in Canada and it's not a typical fruit here. But I wouldn't have known how much I loved that if I wasn't willing to just, all right, well, let's try something new. Let's try a new food. How did I even live without this? Two different paradigms, right? Two different knowings. And because you enter the unknown and you're willing to do something different. It's quite fascinating. Quite fascinating. And I do feel like there are places where, a mindset shift isn't what's required. A question, rather, is more powerful than trying to change the mindset. And that's in those places of, I don't know what joy is, the darkness, the despair, those places. I always found that in those places, it didn't matter how many times I tried to shift my mind to something else, it was never effective. But if I stopped and asked a question, that immediately opened up my energy. I'm not trying to change it or get out of it. I'm asking a question that brings a greater understanding or knowing that opens the door to allow me to not deny the darkness, but see what it's bringing me to. It's a different energy and it's a different way of perhaps moving through things. Like oftentimes people will say, "Oh, I'm at a brick wall. I'm in the darkness and nothing works." And you can see as an external factor, like you can see them spinning their wheels on this thing that they can't quite seem to get out of. And I have to ask the question, are you hitting a brick wall or are you at a threshold and don't realize it's a threshold? And the threshold to walk through happens by asking a question. A question is non-confrontational. It doesn't need to be defensive. It doesn't need to dismiss or deny what the person is going through or where they're at. But the question, it can be so powerful. And the question is, do you want to know what this is showing you? Do you want to see something different? Do
Mm.
you want to move over here? There's so many questions you could ask. And, the answer is only going to be as powerful as the question. You ask the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer, or you'll get the answer that is not helpful and continues on the journey. I want to tell you what card I pulled, Anna.
Yes.
It's so in alignment with this. Card number 22. This is from the Dreamweaver's Oracle. It's filled with rainbows and spirals and stars and systems and eyes with rainbow light coming out of them. Hands, both hands have eyes coming out of them. The forehead is connected to the cosmos and the actual being's eyes are closed. And it's called Surfing Rainbows on the Moon. And in order to surf rainbows on the moon, and in order to discover that joy, and in order to reach for the unknown, we kind of have to close our eyes to what's in front of us and what we expect and open that crown chakra, open to the possibility that, hold on, I did come here to experience joy. And yeah, I'm experiencing all these other things too. But do not count joy out. Do not be embittered by these experiences or circumstances, because joy is always graspable, always tangible, always available to you. What's required is not a question of whether you have it or you don't, you've experienced or not, is whether you're willing to commit to having the experience. What does your soul want to experience? 90% of us are going to say, I want to experience joy, love, peace, bliss. Some of us, some souls are here to like literally embody every aspect of who they are in total sovereignty. And that means summoning pieces and parts of who we are that we didn't expect, that are so much more of us, to rise up, to greet that joy, to reach for the stars. But you have to be in the unknown in order to do it. I'm getting summons, like summoning greater aspects of who we are, which allow us to reach higher, to experience something different than the past or what we've experienced before. Can I read this card?
Yes.
I just, you know me, Anna. Sometimes I honestly don't really read from the cards. I just intuitively roll with what's coming through. And every once in a while, I'm really guided strongly to read the guidebook, because the message in there will be perfect for whatever the conversation is or whatever the wisdom is that needs to be delivered. So I'm just going to read it here. The essential meaning of surfing rainbows on the moon, and 22, double number, master builder. It has different meanings for everyone. The essential meaning of this card is the power of imagination when led by inspiration and intuition, the source of all innovative thinking and being playful in the moment. Here's what the card reads. You are at a place where no matter what your inquiry, the answer is the same. It's time to be playful. Let curiosity lead you and allow your imagination to help you dream without limits. You're a powerful co-creator in this world, capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. Venus says that's the limitation she was talking about. Even though you've come this far, you may doubt whether you can ever achieve the life, the career, the dream, the relationship, the idea that you really want. It is not that what you have isn't good enough, but rather the question is this all there is? Is it all that it could be? Could there be even more? Have you placed limits on yourself or others in your mind? You all have so much to give, so much within you that you have not even touched the surface of yet. Write down your dreams, your goals, your deepest desires for your life and play with them. Open to them. Rehearse them. Dabble in them. All as if you were already there. Notice how they make you feel. I always interject in cards here because Spirit will say things to add into what the actual card is reading too. They're saying that notice that question. When you think of what you truly desire and play and rehearse it, how does it make you feel? Some of you are going to feel absolute delight, and it just anchors that joy to go that way. Some of you are going to notice what comes up that's resisting it. You might think about the greatest love of all, the greatest relationship of all, let's say. But then what comes up as you think about playing with it is all your fears and all the things about people that they didn't do that or what it didn't look like. That is just as valuable, because when you see that, it's no longer putting you back into the pattern. You're literally breaking the wall of the pattern and saying, oh, I want that. And that's what's been standing in the way of it. Anytime you ask for something or decide or commit to wanting something, you will be faced with all the things that have been in the way of that very thing you want. Not as a testament to you cannot have it, but to show you, what's that? Ask and you shall receive. You want this, you're committing to this, you desire this, you are ready to commit to it. We have to show you what's in the way so you can discard that, move through it so that you can indeed do that. So, how does it make you feel? Back to the card. How does it make you feel when you write down your dreams, your goals, your deepest desires for your life and play with them? Have you considered who you need to become to experience that version of you? The only limits you have exist in your own perception. Imagine you are surfing rainbows on the moon. Do not worry about how you will get there. At this point, just do not limit yourself because of the past, especially not now. Give wings to the visions for your life. Commit to taking flight. Let the universe take care of the how. When you let your imagination soar, you discover that miracles can and do come true. I feel like that's pretty much in a nutshell everything we were saying, and going to those different places, like choosing joy, the
You
committing
really
to
did.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, committing to it. I love when spirit just really, when the energy is really aligned, anytime energy is aligned, massive synchronicities show up and not coincidences. I know I don't believe in coincidences because I'll tell you why I don't believe in coincidences right here and right now. They usually say that that's where two incidences, experiences are coinciding that have meaning. But anyone you interact with is an incident, and they are all coincidence. If we separate the word co together, just like co-creating, coincidence, they all have meaning, and the meaning is whatever you give to it. And if you can only perceive the limits of yourself, all of us beautiful beings, and the limits of what you can't do, you fail to recognize all that you can do that you haven't even reached for yet. So I just feel like there's so much relevance to this right now. And you know what's interesting? I'm just thinking back to our last episode, Anna. I'm pretty sure that was the last thing we said. It's time to play, because it was really heavy stuff we were talking about. And I don't mean heavy as in it's bad. It's real life experiences we all go through. And that I would think was the end of it. It's time to play. It's time to be free of thought, of trying to figure it out, of limiting or capping what you can or cannot be. Which brings me to this idea that I've been playing around with for a few weeks now. It's the idea that your existence is an idea. If your existence is an idea, you can summon any idea, any energy, anything, all the goddesses, the endless emanations. They all are various aspects and faces of the divine feminine energy on the earth plane, whether men or women, that is being summoned. And as we step into these new commitments, we indeed are summoning an aspect of ourselves that maybe we haven't quite embodied. If you don't know joy and you're committing to joy, you're summoning the aspect of you that is capable of being in the frequency of joy, being the cause of joy, and receiving joy, and having a greater evolution of what that even means. When your existence is an idea, it makes all of this a little bit easier. It's not so heavy, right? There's an idea of me that nothing ever works out. That's an existence based on an idea that nothing ever works out. But there's also an idea that everything's always working out for me. And if your existence is based on that idea, well, everything's always working out for you. They are two opposites, but notice they are ideas. One limits and one energizes and opens doors. one brings possibility, and one brings a pattern. I want to say a pattern or cycle or a loop. Commitment, says Juno. Will you commit? Will you recommit? Ooh. She says, will you recommit to the loop, or will you commit to the threshold and the unknown, which really isn't unknown? You are just summoning part of your vastness to be experienced. Well, this is an interesting conversation. And what a beautiful way to close out our first season. And it's really, really synchronistic, right? Everything, when I look at the web and the multi dimensions and how everything is interconnected, it's interconnected because we are the perceivers. Nothing exists without our consciousness to be able to perceive it. In this way, existence is an idea. We all perceive one person differently. Their existence is an idea based on our idea of ourselves. I got joy. I got joy. We got joy being the cause of it because you are committed to it. Be at cause is what I am hearing. Be at cause. Beautiful souls and listeners, Anna and I are closing out season 1 with this message for you. The power of your joy, choosing joy, entering a new cycle of joy, and summoning pieces and parts of the vastness of you to be embodied and experienced fully and wholly and freely. We will be back at the beginning of season 2, which is actually not that far off. And we are bringing to the table some things we have been working on to offer you, to support you, to guide you, tools and different other methodologies that all of our viewers and listeners can utilize. Because when you up level and you go on a new journey, you will discover that you do need new tools because it's a new experience, a new expansion, and a new embodiment. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe. We will see you on season 2. And of course, feel free to go back and listen to the other episodes if your intuition is guiding you there. And we can't wait to unveil what's up ahead.